Alright, so I wanted to talk about in this video why I truly believe that more and more people are going to become digital nomads in the future. So, with the rise of digital nomads, and it started taking off, I want to say around 2020, when the pandemic first hit. Everybody was more or less, it was pretty easy to apply to jobs. A lot of people were hiring, especially during the pandemic, 2020, 2021, things like that. But, a lot of people were forced to stay inside. A lot of people got laid off. And I think this forced people, this is my opinion, but I think this forced people to basically decide, how they were going to live the rest of their lives. Were they really going to truly be tied down to an employer where they know that the employer didn't give a fuck about, they know the employer doesn't give a shit about them, right? Know the employer doesn't care about them. They know that, if they work for an employer, they're never going to become, any kind of they're never going to gain any kind of real wealth if they work for an employer. They know that. Yes, they're going to have some weekends off. Yes, they might be able to go on vacation or so every 5-10 years. But, they're never going to have that kind of life that they could really have if they were to build it. If they were to take that risk. So I think, during the pandemic, and especially after, when the pandemic was pretty much, it's not almost over, but it was not over, but it was almost over. When employers pretty much started discarding everybody, I think that's when people really looked inside themselves and they're like, you know what? The baby boomers might have had it good. People might have had it good back then, when employers, gave a shit, and they had to give a shit. They might have had it back then with pensions. They might have had it good back then with the pensions and the good health care and the good wages and, with the good economy. But times have changed, and I think people realize that, the same thing is going to happen if I get to, find another job. Eventually I'm going to get discarded. Even if I'm a really good employee, even if I do everything right, there's no guarantee that I'm going to stay even any kind of reasonable amount of time. And I think people will just get tired of they just got tired of getting thrown in the trash. I really think that's why people are going to start going towards the whole digital nomad lifestyle. I think that's one big reason, because people are just tired of being thrown in the trash. People are tired of working for these fucking employers who really don't give a crap about your well-being, who really don't give a crap about you having any time off. They just don't care. Any kind of emergency you have, maybe you have kids, they don't care about anybody. Okay, so I think people realized, really, after a lot of people lost their jobs after the pandemic was over, and are mostly over, and they didn't need you anymore, because we were all told we were essential, right? We were all told we were essential until we weren't essential. Then what? I know what happened to me. I got my pay raise cut. When we were told we were considered essential workers, we got like a $2.50 increase or a $3 wage increase. So this is back when I was working in Medline, right? So this was, I was making $16 an hour, and it got a pay increase from $16 an hour to $18.50, which was great. But the moment that the pandemic mostly subsided is when our pay went back to the base pay of $16. So that's when I realized as well that these employers are never going to fuck about you. That's why I'm doing YouTube. Partially the reason why I'm doing YouTube. I did YouTube, of course, to help you guys. But yes, I am monetized on YouTube. So yes, I technically do YouTube as well to make money. But the point I'm getting at is, besides that, people are just fed up. Like, they realized that they could have a better life if they were to actually, like, commit to something can maybe commit to AI. Maybe they're utilizing AI, like I've told you guys in previous videos. Maybe they're committed to utilize AI to better their lives. I don't think AI is something you should be completely afraid of either. Like I said, I think AI can be a good thing in the right hands, obviously. Obviously, in the wrong hands of greedy billionaires and corporations trying to cut everyone's jobs, well, you get the idea. But let's remember that AI is not just for the greedy corporations. It's not just for the greedy, soulless corporations and the rich elites and the powerful. It's also for us. We can utilize AI to, like I said before on one of my previous videos, we can utilize AI to sell PDF books of, let's say, a language, Spanish, English, French, Italian, Ukraine. It doesn't matter. You could sell things on websites, like I said, Gumroad. You could sell them at Etsy. You could sell AI books. You could do something with AI, create a channel. Yes, I know it's harder to monetize faceless channels, but there's things you could do with AI. You could utilize AI as well to make it, to give yourself some kind of financial freedom. But I think the other reason also people are going digital nomad, the digital nomad route, has to do with a lot of the not just the passport bros, but I think it's just with people in general. Like people are tired of living the same old mediocre life of just going to work, going home. Maybe they get to have a beer on the weekend, or maybe they get to watch a TV show. Whoop-de-fucking-do, what a life, right? You get to watch a series or a TV show, and then you get to go to bed, and then you gotta worry. Most people aren't even living; they're worrying about the weekend. They're worrying, as soon as the weekend hits, it's like they gotta worry about what to do the next day after their weekend just hits, because they gotta worry about getting ready for work the next day, right? So Saturday and Sunday, let's say you have Saturday and Sunday off, and then Sunday comes around, right? You maybe you relax a little bit Saturday, but then Sunday comes around, you're like, oh shit, gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta pack food, I gotta do all these things. Maybe you have kids. Like, people are fed up with that shit. They don't want to keep worrying about all the shit that they have to do. They want to have financial freedom, and they want to have the freedom to be an entrepreneur. They want to have the freedom to be their own boss. And the digital lifestyle allows you to do that for the most part right now. There's things you could do. You could do a YouTube channel like I'm doing. You could, if you're like, let's say you're teaching people a language, not everybody wants to utilize AI. Some people like AI, but a lot of people are fed up with the AI. So it's just, everybody has their own taste, right? So some people may prefer, let's say, a language, or some other skills, some, online or whatever, to grow a business. Some people may prefer to have somebody, that one-on-one human connection, like a lot of YouTubers are liking right now, right? Like a lot of YouTubers are watching, for example, you guys like that I'm raw and real on these channels, right? So I think a lot of people are leaning towards that too. They're leaning towards the YouTube, monetizing YouTube. They're leaning toward channels like mine, where I talk to you guys. I'm raw and real. I say what I mean in most of my videos, non-scripted. I say what I mean what I say. And I think a lot of people are liking that one-on-one human connection. But like I said, I think people are wanting to travel more and experience different things. Experience different places, experience different things. And of course, to save money, because why wouldn't you want to save money? Why wouldn't you want to save money? If you're in an expensive country like Australia or United Kingdom or some other expensive country, and you can go to Thailand and live for $500 to $800 a month alone in a good luxury apartment like Bangkok or somewhere, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Yes, you might have to assimilate to the culture. You'll have to learn the language, but why wouldn't you want to take that chance? Or and again, you could go to Colombia, $800 to $1,500 a month. There's so many countries where you could live. I mean, you could live good. You could live like a king for $800 to $1,500. I mean, there is, some parts of Spain. I think Germany. I mean, Mexico is a lot of decent places. There's a lot of places that you could go where it'd be nicer, and you would actually have some kind of life, and you would be able to live some kind of life on a much lower salary than if you were to live in the UK or Australia or the US, God forbid, because things are absolutely fucking falling apart right now. you know. But I think the number one reason is just people want to do things that they want to do. They want to be passionate. I think that's the number one reason, is people want to do the things they want to do. They want to work the hours when they want to work the hours. They want to be passionate about what they're doing. It could be art, it could be YouTube, it could be selling things, and maybe you're good at a skill. Like, it could be anything. Maybe you build clocks. Hey, I've seen YouTube channels where, you know, people like build clocks and from their house, and they ship it, right? They ship them over, like, whatever it is, like whatever that thing is that you're good at. I think people are realizing that life's too short to work for an employer, not be creative, and not do what you love, you know, because at the end of the day, we're all humans, and we all want to do the things that we want to do. We all want to do the things we want to do, and we want to do them, you know, we want to do them as much as possible. And, you know, for as long as we're going to be on, you know, this beautiful but, you know, crazy earth, you know, we all want to do the things that we want to do for as long as possible and as much as possible. And with an employer owning so much of your time, it's just not possible to do that. So these are some reasons why I honestly think that digital nomads and, you know, just being an entrepreneur in general will be the future going forward in 2025 and beyond. So thank you all for watching. I really hope you liked this video. Leave a like if you liked it. Put a comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. And as always, guys, take care. See you in the next one.